Hello and welcome back to An Old Man Watches, where today I'm going to be talking about the 1999 big screen adaptation of the Wing Commander video game franchise. And the film is set in 2654, where an interstellar war rages between the Terran Confederation, that's us, and the Kilrathi, a lion-like alien species who seek the complete eradication of the human race. And for us, the war is going badly. A massive Kilrathi armada has captured a navigation computer through which it has located Earth. Human commanders scramble to recall the fleet to defend our homeworld, but all projections indicate they will arrive 2 hours too late. So the head admiral instructs Lieutenant Christopher Blair to carry orders to the carrier Tiger Claw. Those orders to fight a delaying action that buys the needed time to assemble a defense at Earth. It's a mission that must succeed, but also one that is near certain suicide for the Tiger Claw and her crew. Of course, first Blair has to reach the Tiger Claw, a mission that nearly proves fatal when an accident with a rogue gravity well knocks out their navigation computer. Fortunately, Blair, demonstrating a near supernatural calculation ability, is able to plot an escape jump for them faster than even the computer could have done. Gosh, I wonder if this ability will factor into the movie's conclusion in some way. In any case, Blair does, of course, make it to Tiger Claw, and the Tiger Claw does indeed fight a valiant delaying action to hold up the Kilrathi invaders. Will their heroic sacrifices save Earth? Will the ship and most of the pilots somehow survive this quote suicide mission unquote? Well, I mean, honestly, the answers to these questions are never really in any doubt. The real question, as always, is it fun watching them do it? So Wing Commander burst onto PC screens in 1990 and was an instant hit. It was hailed as a major step forward for space dogfight games, featuring graphics, audio, and a story that some compared favorably with the Star Wars films, of which there were still only three at the time. Eight sequel games, as well as a remastered version of the original, were released in the franchise between 1991 and 1997, with Wing Commanders 3 and 4 notably featuring extensive live action, full motion video sequences to tell their story. And those sequences had a big name cast. Mark Hamill, Malcolm McDowell, and John Rhys Davies all featured, for instance. At the end of this run of game releases, Chris Roberts, who had directed the main games in the series, as well as all those video sequences I just mentioned, purchased the film rights to Wing Commander. Roberts believed that his experience would translate to big screen production and break the seeming curse that had to that point plagued video game adaptations, or at least plagued them so long as one ignored the first Mortal Kombat movie, which actually made a bundle of money. Things did not work out as planned. Wing Commander bombed with critics and audiences alike, receiving negative reviews and recouping less than half its production budget in ticket sales. Or to put it another way, it sold about 10% as many tickets as Mortal Kombat had. In an interview in 2000, leading man Freddie Prinze Jr. singled out the movie as his worst picture, blaming script changes for its failure and adding, "I can't watch one scene of that movie." So, what went wrong? Well, lots of things, as it happens, but for me, there's a glaring theme that is shared across too many of them. The film lacks energy. It takes far too long to get started with not one but two effective prequel sequences that don't achieve anything but to show us events that characters will shortly tell us about. The film could literally have jumped straight to Blair's near death with the gravity well and jettisoned 10 or 15 minutes of what is basically introductory padding, some of it involving really bad line alien costumes. This lack of urgency plagues the rest of the film too, which is particularly galling given the whole the Kilrathi will Earth in 20 hours and our fleet can't make it for 22 scenario the film is based around. The characters simply don't act like they're under any sort of real time pressure. They talk about it plenty, but there's no sense that they or the movie actually mean it. People flirt, fall in love, explain their weird, psychologically unsafe crew culture, have restful night's sleep, and just generally carry on like they have days at their disposal, not mere hours. Another example of this problem is a scene where we witness a group of Kilrathi trying to escape a lethal predicament. The only sign that they're at all agitated because there are three exclamation points in the subtitles. Nothing in the visuals or audio conveys the severity of the situation. Now, admittedly, part of the problem there is the awful Kilrathi costumes, but that just leads to the film's second issue. The poet Robert Browning intended his famous line, "A man's reach should exceed his grasp," or "What's heaven for?" to mean that to achieve anything worthwhile, a person should attempt even those things that may turn out to be impossible, which is a potentially admirable sentiment, but it's a key problem with this movie, and one that was baked into the project right from the outset. Roberts was planning to make and release a space opera movie in 1999, the same year as the much anticipated Star Wars Episode 1, and he was doing it with less than a quarter of the money. That meant he had to get to theatres first, and the only way to do that was to cut the originally planned production schedule from 12 months to 6. The time crunch restricted the sets they could use and also impacted the Kilrathi effects, which Robert was reportedly never wholly happy with, and there's good reason for that. They're terrible. It may have also led to the script changes that Freddie Prinze Jr. complained about. The film also suffers from a tendency to over-explain things, which may well be a hangover from the creative director's video game background. Blair's superhuman abilities for space navigation get an entire subplot around them, with characters spending considerable time discussing not just what Blair can do, but the entire history of people who have this ability, the conflict they fought against the Terran Confederation, and the suspicion that some people feel towards Blair due to that history. This is setting lore that could be intriguing when directed to the player protagonist of a video game who has 50 plus hours to play through the game, but it feels like excessive crush in a movie that's got to be over and done with in under 2. Now, science fiction often draws on historical conflicts for inspiration. Star Wars may be best known for its space wizards with laser swords, but a large chunk of it are inspired by World War I dogfights. Wing Commander doesn't so much draw inspiration from a historical conflict so much as it lifts stuff directly from World War II movies, particularly Das Boot and Midway. The scenes copied wholesale from the former movie are particularly notable given that A, they basically lifted a submarine hiding from sonar sequence and slapped it into a completely different kind of craft. The Tiger Claw is a carrier, not a submarine. And B, they've also done so while casting Jürgen Prochnow, who was the leading actor in Das Boot. Now, did Chris Roberts' lack of experience in cinema lead him to compensate by consciously recycling key elements of other films on the basis that what had worked before should work again? Probably not, to be honest, but that's certainly the impression the film gives at times, not least because those moments where it is echoing another film are probably among its most effective. I would rather rewatch this movie than I would rewatch The Phantom Menace, but there's precious little to recommend revisiting Wing Commander. Next time, did you know there have been 4 Scorpion King sequels? I'm planning to take a first look at the first three of them. I've not seen number 5, and I don't plan to, so 2 through 4 is all you get. But that is next time. Until then, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you've seen Wing Commander, let me know what you thought of it.